The imminent end of most of the corona rules in England has met with sharp criticism. The head of the Medical Association BMA, Chaand Nagpaul, called the project on Tuesday irresponsible and, to be honest, dangerous. He warned of potentially devastating consequences and particularly criticized Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The Prime Minister has repeatedly stressed the importance of slow and cautious action, said Nagpaul. But in the reality, the government is throwing all caution to the wind by lifting all regulations in one fell swoop. The government, however, defended the announcement. Johnson had confirmed the day before that almost all remaining corona rules will be lifted on July 19th. This means that the obligation to keep a distance and the mask requirement no longer applies. Nightclubs are allowed to reopen, and there are no longer any audience restrictions for events. Johnson urged the population to continue wearing masks in places with many people and urged clubs and event organizers to check their guests with a digital vaccination card. However, this is not required by law. Due to the spread of the highly contagious Delta variant, the number of new corona infections had recently increased significantly across the whole country. There is a particular dispute about the mask requirement. Several stores announced that they would continue to insist that masks be worn in their rooms. Health Minister F.A.Z said in Parliament that mouth and nose covers still make sense in some situations. The government makes its decisions on the basis of the best possible scientific advice, they say. We believe people will use their common sense and follow that advice, said Javid. In contrast, government advisers have also made it clear that the easing is a political decision. The scientific expert committee SAGE, which advises the government, expects 1,000 to 4,800 hospital admissions and 100 to 400 deaths daily due to the corona easing, depending on how people behave. A large nightclub operator has already refused to check vaccination records. As the Health Service Journal reported, the number of corona patients in clinics increased by almost 50% in the past week. The online magazine Politico quoted a cabinet member as saying that the government was flying blind. Opposition Labour Party's health expert Jonathan Ashworth spoke of the government's fatalistic approach. Finance Secretary of State Stephen Barclay told Sky News that there was no perfect time for the opening. The vaccination success now offers a window of time, also in view of the upcoming school holidays. The country must return to normal and learn to live with the virus, he says. However, he admitted that rules could be reintroduced if the situation worsened. The easing only applies in England, which does not have a government of its own, that's why. As health policy in the UK is a matter of country, regional governments are responsible for rules in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. The Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon also announced further easing for July 19th on Tuesday. In the northern part of the country, in contrast to England, mask compulsory should only continue to apply. Nightclubs will also remain closed, and there are upper limits for participation in private meetings and public events. Wales will move fully into alert level 1 from July 17th. The changes were paused 4 weeks ago because of the emergence and spread of the Delta variant across the UK and to enable more people to be vaccinated in Wales. And there will be further changes to the rules outdoors as Wales takes the first careful steps towards a new alert level 0. Alert level 0 is set out in an updated coronavirus control plan, which is published this week. If the public health situation allows, Wales will move to this level on August 7th. First Minister Mark Drakeford said, "We are entering a new phase of the pandemic. Cases of the virus have risen sharply since the Delta variant emerged 6 weeks ago, but thanks to our fantastic vaccination program, we are not seeing these translated into large numbers of people falling seriously ill or needing hospital treatment. We can be reasonably confident that vaccination has weakened the link between infections and serious illness. But there's still a risk that this third wave of the pandemic could cause real harm, either direct harm from the virus or indirect harm from, for example, people having to isolate. We can move to alert level 1 for indoor spaces from July 17th and go further for outdoor spaces because we know the risk of transmission outdoors is lower. We are also publishing plans for a new alert level 0, which will have fewer legal restrictions, but which will still need all of us to take steps to protect ourselves. From July 17th, Wales will move fully to alert level 1, and that includes up to 6 people can meet indoors in private homes and also in holiday accommodations. Organized indoor events can take place for up to 1,000 seated and up to 200 standing. Ice rinks can reopen. Wales will also take the first step into alert level 0 as the limits on the numbers of people who can meet in public places or at events will be removed. Outdoor premises and events will also have greater flexibility around physical distancing. Also from July 17th, other changes include new rules for children's residential activity centers, so children in groups of up to 30 can visit. A specific requirement for employers to provide comprehensive information on the risks and mitigations identified in the COVID risk assessment with their employees. If Wales moves to alert level 0 on August 7th, all premises would be able to open and most, but not all, restrictions will be removed and replaced with the ongoing requirement for all organizations and businesses to carry out. These will determine what reasonable measures are needed to be put in place to keep workers and customers and visitors safe. There will also be no legal limits on the number of people who can meet others indoors, including in private homes. Face coverings will continue to be required by law in most indoor public places and on public transport at alert level 0 from August 7th, with the exception of hospitality settings. The First Minister said, "The pandemic is not over and the virus continues to spread across Wales, which makes it really important for everyone to say yes to vaccination and to do everything we can to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. Even though vaccines have weakened the link between the virus and hospitalization, we are seeing young, fit people suffer from long COVID, which for some has a major impact on their lives." And I can agree there. It takes time to get rid of that. We have the headroom to continue to gradually remove restrictions, but each and every one of us has a really important part to play to keep Wales safe as we head into the summer. The First Minister has also confirmed that people who have been fully vaccinated in the UK will no longer need to self-isolate if they are returning from an amber list country, in line with the position in England and Scotland. And I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.